just by the vibes alone, you feel like, okay, Alabama feels like they got something different. And what you mentioned about Latham is interesting because they have tried to gin up that level of disrespect before, and we kind of laugh at it. Nobody's had to fake that this time around.
No, this is not Kirby or one of the players at Georgia when they're like undefeated and they're just cruising right now. Be like, oh yeah, people thought we were going 7-5. Like, come on, that was a bunch of BS. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a legit. Hey, they hear it. I mean, Josh Maxson, part of Alabama football, loves it every time that I talk bad about Alabama. He's like, do it. We just love it. We love it over here. Cannot get enough of it, right? Like he's the guy in charge of Alabama football communications. And when I hear that from guys like that, it makes me think, all right, they don't get too far ahead of your skis, right? And again, I think and I want your thought on this. I think Kirby going back to back and doing so well energizes Saban to a certain extent. That keeps it new, and there's an interesting new level of the video game, for lack of a better term for him.
We'll be right back with more SEC talk from Peter Burns after this word from Bird Dogs. It has been a Bird Dogs kind of day because I woke up, I threw on my Bird Dogs tight wads, and went to the gym. 4-way stretch. Doesn't matter if you're squatting, benching, they can handle it all. Now, wearing my Bird Dogs Fidel Bass Pro Polo for this lovely ad. And then later, I've got to go to something where I have to wear pants. I'm not wearing pants right now. I'm a professional podcaster, for goodness sakes. But later, I will throw on these, the Stephen Jobs. And oh, by the way, look at that. The underwear already sewn into the pants. You don't have to buy underwear or wash underwear. You just throw them on. You go, you look professional, and it's amazing. And right now, if you go to birddogs.com/Andy or use the promo code Andy, you'll get this beautiful tech hat as well. So you can have Bird Dogs on your butt, Bird Dogs on your heart, and Bird Dogs on the brain all in one day. Birddogs.com/Andy, promo code Andy. I have always said that I think Nick Saban is at his best when he has a problem to solve. And I think there's a couple problems to solve. Kirby is the main problem, whether people want to admit it or not. I go back to the class of 2020. They had some multiple players that both teams were in on. Jalen Carter was one of them. Darnell Washington was one of them. Cedric Van Pran, the Georgia center, was one of them. And that Georgia beat them. And I know Alabama beat Georgia on some of those guys. But if you take Kirby Smart away, if it's a Mark Richt type coach at Georgia at that time, those players are probably all on Alabama's roster last year. And if they are, Alabama wins the national title. Like, that's the difference. Like, they win those 2 games they lost. They get those 4 points or don't give up the 4 points that they lost by. And they're just that much deeper. And Kirby's made Georgia as deep as Alabama was in, say, 2015, 2016.
Yeah, and I mean, even more so. And I think that's why, it's kind of one of these things where, like, I don't follow a whole lot of racing, but you got guys drafting off each other. And I feel like Saban drafts a little bit off of Kirby's success right now, but like it pushes him. Like, how am I going to change that? How am I going to solve that problem like you talked about? And on the flip side, I don't know if Kirby would be as good and as cutthroat and as competitive if he doesn't feel like he's still in the shadow of the greatest coach in the history of college football. Like, those two are good for each other right now. Like Ryan Day and Jim Harbaugh, there doesn't feel like there's this like animosity. It's more of like an Ohio State versus Michigan. It's more like the rivalry of the game. I feel like there's something not necessarily personal, but like this competitive, like when we saw Mickelson and Tiger Woods in golf, like they want to beat the hell out of each other every single time. And their quest in the process of greatness is what provides us, some really damn good teams to watch.
Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples On 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.